I switched to English because we have our friends from Finland with us, and I hope you can now hear me well with this double microphone, so one for people here in the room and one for you to hear me via Zoom. So great that you connect to us even from Finland, even though you can't travel to Germany right now, but that at least we can have an impression of what you are doing in Finland, how you do religious education with children. So first of all, a warm welcome to our center number 5, Windrichtungen. Great that you are here. Maybe as a little first impression, can you present yourselves and tell us a little bit what you do in Finland?
You're very welcome to our office in Association for Children and Youth in Finland. And we are welcoming you to our new office. Actually, we moved here in just a few months ago. I work here. I'm Anita Ahtiainen, and I work as an editor-in-chief in children's church media. So I'm really doing videos and programs, different kind of programs for little children. And we do, many other things in this association too. And my colleague here is...
I'm Raija Ojell. I'm advisor and specialist in the Church Council in the Lutheran Church in Finland. And we do training, not a professional, but after people work in parishes, we do training after that. And then we have connections to the society, to the other administrations in the society, so that we can keep up with religious education in our society.
Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. Today you are here to tell us a little bit about this new concept you developed in Finland called The Path. And maybe for a start, you can tell us a little bit what is the situation of Lutheran congregations in Finland at the moment, and what is this new model, and what role does it play for congregations in your country?
Okay, in Finland there are 5.5 million people living here and still 3.5 million of us belong to Lutheran Church of Finland, but still that number has diminished very fast last 10 years, and there are much less baptisms than before, and especially young families, they are thinking if they do want to baptize their babies or children anyway, and do they want to give them religious education. And that's why we've been thinking, how can we really contact and to give families that kind of space in our parishes that is interesting and meaningful to them. And Path comes from that idea. Raija, you can continue. Do you continue with
Yes, and the other part comes also that we have quite many workers in our church, but because many of them are retiring in a few years, and the money is becoming less and less all the time. So we have to think how to work together as a whole in the parish. So that I think that's one reason for the Path. We have to look for the Christian education as a whole and not just concentrate on children of certain age, but to plan it as a whole with not so much resource in the future.
I think we have a similar situation in Germany, where membership is decreasing in the Lutheran Church. So that's very interesting to hear what ideas you have in this situation. And you already mentioned that one important idea of this model is to really work together. And in our center here about the wind directions, the wind direction north here also stands for navigating together. So this matches quite perfectly. So can you maybe explain a little bit further how this new model encourages for religious education in parishes to work together? Like, who is involved, and how do you do that?
The idea of this model is working together with families also, but also with workers in parish and in different parishes. We have very many small parishes in the countryside where there's probably one worker for the whole educational work. So it's ideal that the workers from different parishes nearby work together and make ideas together and share things together. So that's one thing. And we have a history that we have very many workers who specialize on certain age of children, and they are professional workers. And it has led to that there can be a gap between the small children's activities and then for the children who go to school. And the path will guide us to see the education as whole and encourage the workers to work together so that there won't be these gaps between ages.
And I think that also digital work helps us to work together. So it's much easier to have meetings in southern and northern and eastern and western Finland same time. We don't need to have a conference to develop things, that we can have meetings in web, and also we can meet families and children in web more. So, well, path is very digital too.
Yeah, and it also encourages the parishes to take young children and youngsters and the families to plan, to work out and to evaluate the things we do in the parish. So the parish is not just the workers doing things for the members, but that we all work together.
Maybe we can get a little bit more concrete to get a better practical idea. So many of us here at this convention here in Germany work with smaller children. So I would say from the age from 3 maybe to 10. Maybe you can give us one example what your model of the path is offering, or what kind of ideas you have for this age group, and maybe also you talked about this gap, how that connects maybe then to the older children.
For example, this children's media is for the little children. We can talk about that, but also in many, I think that in parishes, they do have different kind of programs for little children, but we want to concentrate in baptism time, and then we try to find with families themselves places to gather together, like family clubs, or what do they want to call it now. And then there's a special moment when children go to school. So we hope that everywhere in Finland, they take care that every child who's go to school is asked to come to church or somewhere that tells the child that you're important. We share this very special moment with you. What would you add?
Yes, and I think these kind of events, we have learned that children or families don't want to get involved in such a long-term activities. You come here every week, but if you have events, families come with pleasure, and we have some food and something to do. And in this path, we are developing different kind of events for every age group, so that the invitation goes to all the children of that age. For example, in many parishes, the birthday parties for children who turn 10 years old is very popular. There is some program, there is some cake, and there's some Christian education also. But every children at that age is invited. So that's one thing.
Yeah, thank you so much for these insights. And there we already see also some cultural differences, because I guess many of us here in the room are surprised to hear that the 10 years anniversary is something special. Apparently that's something Finnish. We don't have that here in Germany. But being inspired by your program, maybe for us we can find other typical moments in lives of children where we can develop these kind of ideas and offers in our congregations here in Germany. Maybe you can, before we end, I have 2 more questions. Maybe you mentioned that you also have digital offers in this concept. And we do have here in our center a lot of digital programs and ideas as well. So I would be curious what kind of ideas you have to work digitally with children.
Children's church media is, well, it's kind of brand for families that they know. We hope that they know the figures from children's church, and they are seen in parishes in everywhere, so that they like the figures like and fun and nice. So, for example, you can see here around one guy. So we have figures of actually 8 different kind of figures, and we now developed more because we want ethnical diversity in our figures. And these guys who tell the stories and ask to come to play in digital world. We have an app called Päkäspäivä. Päkä is a little sheep, which is really for little children nice. We have an application where little children can name things and play things, and then there can be prayers, and we're developing it to well, there you can explore church, for example, later. No, not yet, but the game is actually very nice. When I show it to little children, they are very excited of it. So it's free application. You can load it from App Store or Google Play. And then we have videos which can be used in parishes or at home, but there are also bedtime stories, which seems to be very important to families to find bedtime stories or evening prayers. And then in Spotify, we do have also own channel where we also publish the music we make, because the music work is actually quite a big thing in Finland also with families. These are, well, some examples.
Yeah, that sounds very, very interesting, and you seem to be very creative in your work. We see it already in your background and with the little figures you're showing us. And yeah, I think we have a lot to learn from you, also concerning the digital tools you just mentioned. And I'm very happy that you will connect again to us from Finland this afternoon for a workshop. So people will be able to attend a workshop with you on the screen again, connected to us in Lübeck, and maybe as a last appetizer for this afternoon, for everyone here to know what they can do in your workshop, maybe you can tell us just a little bit more what you are planning for this afternoon.
We are not just telling what we do, but we want to share with you. We are asking the people who come to our workshop also to think what are the changes in their environment and what kind of ideas they have to help people in these changes.
Yes, and the path is the model also in Finland. Every parish and congregation can make their own, take the ideas that suits them. So we hope that the participants in our workshop can reflect this model to their own situation in their churches, and maybe get some new ideas how we can strengthen the participation of the people in our parish and in our church and in our activities with children and families.
It sounds wonderful, and I think we will have a great exchange with you this afternoon, and we can learn together and reflect about our different situations in both our countries, Germany and Finland. So yeah, thank you so much for connecting to us right now, and we are looking forward to seeing you again this afternoon. Thank you so much.